In the world of sports, we absolutely love a good comeback story. But what we're witnessing right now with Manchester United, wow, it's way beyond a simple run of good form. We are talking about a fundamental root-to-stem turnaround. Now, everybody out there is saying United is back, but the real story is how it actually happened.
And that's the central mystery, isn't it? When a giant of world football suddenly wakes up from a deep slumber, we all want to know who flipped the switch. Was it the big money signings? Just a sudden stroke of luck? Maybe a shift in the league's balance of power? We always look for those obvious headline-grabbing answers. But listen, if you want to understand the true catalyst of this resurgence, you've got to look away from the obvious. You have to point straight to the unseen architect working tirelessly behind the scenes, Michael Carrick.
Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1, the unseen architect. Because what Michael Carrick has done this season is, frankly, not normal. This isn't your standard managerial stint where a new boss comes in, gets a brief new manager bounce, and then, settles right back into the same old rut. No. What we are looking at here is an absolute masterclass in team reconstruction. To really appreciate where they are right now, we have to remember the heavy, chaotic reality of the before. We're talking about a team completely stuck in mid-table purgatory, playing with literally zero identity, zero direction. But today? Well, today, they are pushing for the Champions League. They are confident, they are climbing, and they're dominating. It is a night-and-day transformation, entirely crafted by Carrick. Which brings us to part 2, tactical simplicity wins. See, when a team is in total chaos, the temptation for any manager is to come in and try to reinvent the wheel, right? To introduce these crazy, complex tactics just to prove how incredibly smart they are. But Carrick, he refused to do that. He didn't force his players into rigid systems they clearly didn't understand. If we're playing detective here, his entire blueprint hinges on one incredibly grounding question. What do my players actually do best? He built absolutely everything around that single reality. And this brilliantly illustrates the direct result of that exact philosophy. The 4-2-3-1 formation. It wasn't some grand reinvention. It was just a simple, elegant shift tailored perfectly to the exact profiles of the players he already had available. By just putting players in positions where they naturally thrived, suddenly, click, everything fell right into place. And the mechanical changes, they were immediate. Defensively, they transformed into a tight, compact unit. In transition, they became lightning fast. And tactically, they adopted a much more direct style of play. They started attacking with pure, ruthless intent. No more messing around. Moving to part 3, defending as a team. Now, what's really interesting about this conceptual shift is how it highlights the core issue. Before Carrick, this was just a broken team defending as isolated individuals. You'd have one guy pressing, another guy dropping back, and absolutely nobody covering for mistakes. It was a mess. But Carrick completely changed that. They started defending as a unified team, pressing together, suffering together. That single shift stopped the bleeding and closed those massive gaps entirely. That naturally leads us to part 4, freedom in attack. So, with that defensive foundation finally secure, Carrick gave his attackers the freedom they were absolutely starving for. The mandate was super simple: less hesitation, more direct play. Because the transitions were faster now, the attackers didn't have to overthink things or try to force complicated passing sequences. They just had to green light to go. And man, you see this newfound freedom everywhere on the pitch. Bruno Fernandes is back to completely controlling the tempo. Casemiro is once again a commanding, authoritative force right in the middle of the park. And young talents like Kobbie Mainoo, they are visibly growing in stature with every single match. So the crucial point here is it's the exact same roster. The names on the back of the shirts haven't changed one bit, but they are playing like a completely different team. This was a systemic, tactical fix. Carrick didn't go out and buy a whole new squad. He literally just organized the one he inherited. Let's look at part 5, fixing the mentality. Because, look, tactics are just lines on a whiteboard without the actual heart to execute them, right? Carrick didn't just fix the tactics. He orchestrated a profound psychological transformation. And the kinetic result of that? Boom. Wins started stacking up. Big, crucial victories coming one right after the other. And as those back-to-back results just kept rolling in, momentum built like a runaway freight train. I mean, you could practically feel the atmosphere in the dressing room totally shifting. All that heavy pressure and doubt entirely flushed out, completely replaced by a surging, unstoppable wave of energy. Confidence returned, and most importantly, belief came back, making these players truly believe in themselves, in the system, and in the badge all over again. That was Michael Carrick's ultimate psychological masterstroke. Because as the saying goes, tactics might win you a match, but belief wins you a season.
Which brings us to our final section, the Champions League push.
The ultimate, tangible result of this dual-pronged tactical and mental overhaul is just crystal clear. They went from the absolute chaos of being completely lost mid-table to making a relentless push for the top four. With that newfound belief flowing through their veins, they aren't just competing anymore. They are climbing straight into the bright lights of the Champions League.
Honestly, you just have to step back and applaud it. This isn't just some lucky run of form. It's not a fluke, and it's certainly no coincidence. What we have meticulously broken down today is a deliberate, expertly constructed success story. It is a true managerial masterclass by a man who knew exactly what his team needed and precisely how to give it to them.
Which leaves us with this final, fascinating question to ponder. We've seen the tactical shifts, we've seen the mental breakthroughs, and the dramatic climb up the table. But if this continues, we really have to ask ourselves, is this just an incredible temporary run of form? Or are we watching Michael Carrick not just rebuild a team, but permanently restore the true identity of Manchester United?